Hello, my name is Jeannie Francis. I am a reflexologist and herbalist and a Reiki master. I own a business called Spirit to Soul Connection in Merchantville, New Jersey. I have a retail shop and I also have classrooms in which I teach different things. We have workshops and other things that always go on. Today I am talking to my friend Mark Thelman. Mark does past life regression and hypnotherapy. I find the work that he does very fascinating. Mark, I've always wanted to ask you a few questions about things that you do.
Hi, Jeannie.
Hi, Mark.
It's a pleasure to be here, and I'll give you all the answers I can.
And I'm hoping to ask a few questions so that I could share them with my friends so that they can get some education before they come out for your workshop.
Okay, well, as you can see here, I pulled many of my books that reference past life regressive therapy, and there are tons more. I'm schooled at APU, American Pacific University. I'm finishing my doctorate, and I took several courses through them that reference this. So there's a lot of material. But what happened, to go back to your other question, I was a kid that found an ad for a Hypno Whirly disc in the back of a comic book, and I sent off for it, and it was cool. It just was one of those things that just change, as you move them. But the book that came with that really it astounded me what could be done with hypnotherapy or hypnosis. I didn't even know the word hypnotherapy at the time. So I got my little friends together and I would hypnotize them, and kids are very receptive. So I was hooked from the beginning, and I was particularly excited about post-hypnotic suggestion. So I would tell them things like, when I awaken you for 2 minutes after I awaken you, you're going to smell apple pie baking in the oven. And then they would wake up and go, "Is your mom baking an apple pie? That smells so good. Do you think she'll give me a piece?" And then the 2 minutes would pass, and sometimes I would say, after the 2 minutes, after the apple pie, it would smell skunk. And just little tricks like that. But I never let it go for longer than a couple minutes. But I was just so fascinated by that reaction. They were there. It was happening for them. When I was in college, I would hypnotize I lived in a frat house, my fraternity brothers, as they were cramming for their exams. And you have a photographic memory when you're under hypnosis, when you're reading and studying. So they would get their A's. Now that would fade. It wouldn't stay with them, but it was good for a good grade. So I did that, and then in 1976, I was in Columbia, South Carolina, and I hypnotized a friend of mine named Pam. And we were doing some age regression. And what I would do with that is I would give the hypnotized person a pad, and I would say, you're in kindergarten, you've just learned to print your name, print your name. And they'd print their name and say, "You're in first grade now, write your name. You've learned scriptive writing, write your name in script." And they'd write it. And I'd take them up all the way to the present. And if you would find any old papers from school and compare the signatures, they would match. That astounded me, and I was thinking, for a graphologist, this is a wealth of information. It's the whole evolution of the signature. So as I was working with Pam doing this, she started kind of a segue into something else. So I started taking notes, and she was telling me of a past life. So that had never happened before. So I took the notes. She was a woman in Chicago working for the Chicago Tribune. I've forgotten the name she gave me, but it was in the 20s or 30s. She told me that her pay was not good. She had no respect from the males in the newsroom, but she was particularly proud of a series she did for the Tribune on a strike at the rail yard. And then she told me how she died, and I was amazed at what I was hearing. And then when I brought her out of trance, I gave her the paper and explained everything she said. And she was surprised, and I said, "Well, you may want to research this." I wish I had copied that paper. I wish I had a copy. So when that happened, I started to research and explore past life, but there was very little written about it at that time. It's hard to discuss past life without getting into reincarnation and karma, because they are definitely all relative. It's a big synchronicity with that. So I find that sometimes the past life explains some of the things that are happening in this life, especially if you're stuck and the same things happen over and over again. I have read that you travel many times with the same people because as a group, and it's usually family, you have certain karmic issues to work out. The other thing about this is you can bring physical maladies from a past life into this life. And the doctors don't know what's going on. You've got a certain pain or something's wrong, and it turns out that it can only be released by finding the root of that pain in a past life. And that tends to help a lot of people that are in that situation.
How amazing is that? How have you used this in your adult life?
When I do the regression, I'm just trying to help people with some of the problems that could be coming from a past life. And if medical science has given up on these problems, you know, just like Casey, who cured over 14,000 people that were totally written off by the medical industry and told good luck with that, you know, and then he was able to diagnose and prescribe what they needed, and he cured them.
Isn't that amazing? So during this workshop that you are going to do at my place, the Spirit to Soul Connection, how are you going to start this, and what is it that we're going to experience?
Well, it'll be a couple hours, but I want to go through a lot of the information because I'm a teacher, a PowerPoint presentation. I like to work with sound and vision. I like visual support. So we'll do that for the first hour. And I'll mention some of the stories that I've come across in the books and through my research and some of these people that are specializing in this. Then we'll just go into a meditative state and see what happens. It's not like working one-on-one. Nothing beats that because that's much different.
It's then easier for them to maybe sign up for a private session. Mm-hmm. What would a private session be like?
Well, they get all my attention. I do tape and record it so they can reference it. Actually, it's video recorded, so they have the audio and the video.
I'm really glad to hear that it's videotaped, because we as human beings, sometimes we don't get all the things that we should hear from a message, and sometimes it's better to see it later and view it 2 or 3 times, because then you can see the different levels of healing that you need to go through.
Another thing is, since it's videotaped, some people, when they regress to a past life, their facial features change a little bit. It's really hard to poo-poo past life when people go into one and speak a language they've never studied before.
Yes.
Right? So
and speak fluently.
Yeah. Deja vu plays in too. You know, I've been here before, I have said this to you before, so you've been traveling with me for a while. And when that happens, it could be another clue, big clue.
And a few years ago, we went to visit friends in Nantucket, and we were blessed to stay in one of the oldest houses in Nantucket. And before we got in there, I said to him, the kitchen's going to be in an odd spot, and the cabinets are going to be different. And the minute we got inside, the kitchen had been put in the front of the house instead of the back of the house. And my husband, who's this wonderful man, said to me, how do you know these things? And I said, because I was here before.
Yeah, see? And the other thing, what if you take a vacation and you go over to Europe and it's a city you've never been in and you suddenly know the layout? That happens too.
And I thank you for coming out and helping us explore a new way to help our own souls.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm looking forward to the workshop too. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So I hope all of you come out on May 15th. It's a Friday night from 7 to 9 at 23 North Center Street in Merchantville. It's called Spirit to Soul. We're in a large pink building. You can't miss the pink building. And we look forward to you coming out and learning more about yourselves. Have a wonderful day. And thank you, Mark.
You're very welcome. Hope to see you there.